This is very much an open mic Monday. I've got this on so we can chit chat and go back and forth because, 50%. So for every other young person, and let's just sort of keep in line with this article to start with. They do not go ahead with turning that idea into a business because of the fear of failure. So my first question really, and Cad, for someone who works with younger people sort of on a day-to-day basis, we'll get you to start, and then I'll also like to hear from Liz and Andy as well. Is this a young person's thing?
Well, in sort of preparation for coming on here, I was thinking about that question actually and reading the article that you'd mentioned. I think it's a really deep issue. We had a little chat before we came on. I think it's a kind of multifaceted issue because only last week I had a chat with my Wednesday group. There's about 13 to 18 year olds, and we were talking about somehow we got on the subject of part-time jobs, of which none of them have had, none of them have got, and none of them knew even the concept of it. So I was saying, as a kid, I worked in Tunstall Village shop. Yes, I did at the age of 14. I'm not sure if that's legal now, but I was doing that. Fruit picking, pot washing, anything, because I just really want to get some pocket money. And it was just an interesting chat, because I think that is really relevant to this. They had no concept of that. So I said, you know what, you can make your CV, and you're not going to have a big CV, but you have a personal statement. And even that chat was brand new. So even talking about the bravery to be an entrepreneur and start your own enterprise, I think maybe, work experience at any form might be key to this conversation, because that, honestly, I was like, wow, they were talking about trying to get 1,000 likes on YouTube for £4.50, and they thought that was amazing. And I had a sneaky laugh and thought, well, for £5 an hour you can probably pot wash. So yeah. I'm just throwing that into the mix that lots of young people haven't even had perhaps a part-time job or the concept of working. Sure.
I think a lot has to do with the culture that you've set up, though, because let's be totally honest, and just an explanation on me. I mean, I came to you and your organisation in my 40s. And I didn't have that confidence. So I mean, I'll be delighted if that's described as a young person. So I think it's so important to drill down on this. And Liz, I mean, you do your fundraising work, and we had a chuckle on the phone because I've done that myself too. And if there is anything that can be quite daunting, it's asking people for money.
Absolutely, and I think the thing that struck home with me about this is that failing is a learned skill. We have to learn how to do it. And yes, when you fundraise, you get lots and lots of no thank you very muches, but you soon realise that it's not personal. And I think the difficulty for young people, I mean, I'm a mum, I've got a 13-year-old son, and he's like me, he's bright at school, he's used to getting good grades, he's used to being right, and he's used to there being a right way and a wrong way to do something. That's not what life's like, really. And I think the best thing that my son has ever done so far is learn to snowboard, because he has learned to fall down and get up again, and fall down again and get up again. And it's been really useful to him to realise that getting something wrong doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means you made a mistake and you can do it better next time. That's what I don't think I learned at school, and it's taken me till I was a lot older than that to realise that failure isn't personal, and it's something that you have to learn to do in order to get better.
So why then, as a society, do we really kick failed projects and failed campaigns so hard that people do tend to think that they don't work? Someone goes out of business, he's out of business, he's a loser, he's shown he can't do that. It's almost like a society thing. Would you say?
I think it is, that's a very big question I don't think I can answer, but I do think a lot of it for younger people goes back to school and the fact that we're taught that there's a right way and a wrong way. So you see somebody doing what you think is the wrong way and you want to appear to be better than them. That's just a natural human instinct. I want to feel better than you. And so I can't honestly say. Any ideas how society got to this point?
I think that's a binary interpretation of how we see the world. When I was a teacher for 5 years, so I always challenged that while I was teaching. But when you test children on a binary level of failure or success, they feel failure and success, but not necessarily in a positive way. Whereas if you give them less academic ways to fail and succeed, they realise that they might fail at something. That's okay. You don't have to be brilliant at everything. But I firmly believe, and I think we'd all agree, that everyone has something that they will succeed at, and they are excellent at and better than everyone else. And it's finding that, but you only get that, as you said, through sort of exploring and failing. So it's important for sort of young people to feel success and failure in equal measure, and sort of see how that can be, put to good use moving forward.
So I should have added ex-teacher to artist and photographer as well, and printmaker, because I mean, just the very nature of the different things that you've been doing, Andy, I mean, you must have had varying levels of success.
Yeah, and I think it goes back further than, I mean, I've been self-employed for a year, but I've had self-employment in the past as well, alongside employment. And I think when you get to, I mean, I'd love to say I was young. I'm not. I'm in my late 30s, and I think that you sometimes need that experience of life to have had those knocks, or to try things out, and actually kind of like, as you said yourself, you came to this in your 40s. You need to have maybe that life experience to gain that confidence sometimes.
Yeah. Ked, I mean, the atmosphere that you create is very uplifting. You know, when you know the teenagers, the young adults who go there are. How then are you able to sort of combine that with the sort of smarts that they're going to need to take out there into that wide world? Because it's also clear that just being good at the thing isn't a guarantee that they're going to necessarily get there.
Well, there's probably 2 or 3 things there. Firstly, it is all ages, I should say that. We work with a lot of young people, but we're working right up to people who are making different choices throughout their life, which is interesting, and in itself that's a message as well. In some of the youth projects, I think it's just you're learning really tangible, kind of shared skills that are about teamwork or inventing or being really playful. And for me personally, the reason I really tried to push that is because that's how I have, God, honestly, if I could print my CV off, it's very long and very diverse. And I think that's really important because, again, like what you were saying, Liz, I think at some level you're trying to undo some of the things that are bound up with you in school. And as somebody who delivers now supplementary things for school, we go and do 2 or 3 things a week with young people, also with youth offending. We're working with people to try and rebuild ideas of what they could be because they've made bad life choices at a very young age, or things have gone wrong for them. So I think one of the things is being really playful and being inventive at all stages, because then you can find your interest. And the second thing, I was with our studio, so in our studio space we've got probably about 30 freelance creative people of all types, from radio to musicians to creative social media, whatever goes together to make our different organisations, from Smokehouse to music to teaching. And I really think that's important. These are role models. So we say to our young people, Joe started a music studio. He didn't think when he was 12 he was going to run a music studio. So that's another lesson of just being really open-minded.
But isn't it to do with, I think, society sort of, maybe when you leave schools, is what you can't do. And it's actually about what you can do, and trying to say, well, actually, I can do this.
I think there's more to it than that, because it's not just about what you can do and what you can't do. It's the fact that you can do this, and then you can do that, and then you can do that other thing. And I think I certainly, when I left school, when I left university, I thought I would go and I would be a thing, and that would be my life. Whereas that's not what's happened to me, funnily enough. I've moved from thing to thing. I've learned, I've grown, I've developed, I've done different things. And actually, work, shoot me down if you like, work is not the most important thing in life.
Agree.
Work is a part of life, and if you can make it work across your whole life, it almost doesn't matter what you start doing, because you'll gravitate towards the things that you love, and you'll get better at the things that you love. Because the other thing is, you don't suddenly pop out of the womb being an expert in something. I didn't even know fundraising was a thing. I didn't know it was a career possibility, and I had to learn the skills to do it. I had to learn how to work, and I had to learn how to fundraise. And if you'd asked me when I was 12 or 15 or even 20, I wouldn't have known that was an opportunity. I just took the opportunities that came to me, and they led on to other things.
Fantastic.
Would you say that's, we like to pigeonhole then? We're quite comfortable saying that's what you do. And also many people I know that are, you've come out of teaching to be an artist, that even teachers themselves become a teacher when probably They were. There's other things in there.
But that's that binary thing again, isn't it?
Yeah.
I am this, not I